Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast Talking Auburn Football. We're locked in on these Auburn Tigers here on Game Day. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. As always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger. War Eagle Auburn headed out to Starkville today to take on the Mississippi State Bulldogs, a team that they've had a relative amount of success against during the Gus Malzahn era. You know, I was looking at some articles, and we're talking about the fan base. Before we get into the whole Mississippi State Auburn thing, talking about the fan base. Cole Kubelik, former Auburn offensive lineman, really big with the SEC network, also appears on a radio show in Birmingham here and there. Also does the prediction show with Lauren Sisler on Thursdays. Either way, he was actually shocked. Apparently, he was listening to a radio show, and he was actually shocked at the fact that Auburn fans didn't show any dissatisfaction with how the season has gone. Didn't get a lot of callers coming in raged about how this season has happened. Auburn 5-4, definitely not the season that many fans predicted. Of course, I didn't think Auburn would go undefeated. I thought Auburn at its optimal level would be 8-2. 5-4 is a tad bit of disappointment, but Cole Kubelik said he was shocked that he didn't hear a lot of callers complaining and venting and ranting about the state of Auburn's program, especially this particular football season. But my response to that is they are. You see it on social media. You see it pretty much every outlet you can think of, whether it's just general conversation. It usually alludes to the dissatisfaction of Gus Malzahn as the head football coach at Auburn and his results. Yes, he has never had a losing season, but his winning percentage is really not that high. 7-6, 8-4, 8-4, 10-4. You know, multiple losses during the year. It negates the fact that it's a winning season. And then you have to define what a winning season means to you. I would say from a program building standpoint, a winning season for Auburn standards should be 9 games minimum every year. 9 to 10 games minimum. That's what you got going at other programs who have positioned themselves to win championships. Most of the teams in the top 4, top 5, top 6 are teams that recruit well, teams that have pretty good facilities, and teams that have excellent quarterback play and pretty sound on defense. They're good at the line of scrimmage. Auburn can't really say that they're quite there yet. And the recruiting efforts, especially you look at this year, doesn't indicate there will be a profound change next year. Now, here's what will help. What will help is definitely having spring practice. Nobody had spring practice, but Auburn is one of those teams that needed it. Definitely. And people say, well, no, everybody didn't have a spring, but some were affected by the lack of a spring practice more than others. Let's be real for once. And get out of this whole, when someone gives a reason for something, that it's an excuse. No, it's a freaking reason. And a legitimate reason. You got a quarterback that struggled last year. You know, didn't have a spring training, getting introduced to a new offensive coordinator. We're going to find out if that's going to, you know, it's been buzzing that that's one of the biggest mistakes that Auburn made was hiring Chad Morris. I mean, we'll see. But either way, those things are effective in this, okay? So all you sunshine pumping, you know, all that bull crap, you know, you're a sunshine pumper, this, that, and the other. I'm not a sunshine. I'm just a realist. You know, just like companies, you analyze each unit or organization different based on the circumstance. And Auburn had a weird circumstance. High turnover on both offense and defense. New coaches and new position coaches in place. That's a hell of a reason to need a spring practice. But yeah, I'm not shocked though, you know, because I think at a certain point with the Auburn fan base, you feel like you're beating a dead horse. You know, your fans are looking at the fact that, okay, they feel, at least from a perception standpoint, that you're stuck with Gus for now because of the buyout. I don't think we're stuck because of the buyout. I think if they really wanted his ass out of there, they would have him out of there. I think the administration, at least as far as what standards they expect of Gus, given the totality of circumstance, maybe even factoring in the buyout. But I get why fans are not just ranting and raving, because they've been doing it for years. They've been doing it for years as far as Gus Malzahn goes and as far as the trajectory of the program goes. So they're probably just tired. They're probably just absolutely tired. Absolutely just say, hey, we're going to wait this thing out, see what happens. Maybe Gus will turn it around. Maybe Auburn will get to the point where they part ways with Gus Malzahn. I think the Auburn fan base is just exhausted, really, because you can only complain so much. You can only look at games and just, have these head-scratching moments, and it gets to the point where things are just totally out of your control. Now, let's get back to this game against Mississippi State. I think there's a lot of interesting moving parts to this game. Auburn absolutely has to establish the running game. Bad news is Mississippi State is actually pretty good against the run. If Mississippi State forces Auburn into a situation where the game has to be, at least in a roundabout kind of way, in Bo Nix's hands, I think Auburn is in deep shit. I think they're in really deep trouble if that's the case. Because for one, let's just say the air raid does get going. I don't think Auburn can keep up. Auburn's offense is not equipped unless they actually start spreading the ball around and hit some deep balls. They're really not equipped to play score for score with a team like Mississippi State. Now, Mississippi State hasn't scored a lot of points, but that doesn't mean against the right team the potential is not there. Now, here's another thing Auburn has to do, and they've actually been pretty good at this over the years, is definitely the bend but not break defense. See, here's the thing. When you have a team that's an air raid type, Ole Miss, the way they run their offense, Alabama is the exception to this rule. Usually, if you can keep them from scoring on the big play, if you get them in the red zone, usually they're not effective in the red zone. Why? Because they have limited space. And when you have a team that likes to spread the ball around, when you get inside that 20, it's like instead of having 11 guys on the field, now you have 13. That's including the sidelines. That's including the back of the end zone as a extra defender, so to speak. So the field starts to help you out. Those are situations that Auburn needs to definitely get in, because they can't allow the big play. If they allow the big play to score, then they're in deep trouble. I do think in this particular game, Auburn also has to find a way to apply pressure to the quarterback. Has to find, and one thing about it, this thing is pretty predictable unless Mississippi State comes out and start running the football at a high level. I mean, it is what it is. The air raid is here. Either you're going to stop it or you're not. Okay, so those are the keys, I think, to victory. Definitely got to slow the penalties down, especially in crucial situations like, say, 3rd and 2. You jump off sides. Now it's 3rd and 7, and Auburn's offense does not really perform well in 3rd and over like 5. They just don't get it. There was an interesting situation last week with Texas A&M. If they would have accepted this holding penalty, it would have been like 3rd down and 19. But the situation as it was, they declined the penalty and say, hey, I don't think you can get it on 3rd and 9. Sure enough, they didn't. So 3rd down conversions, play calling on 1st and 2nd downs are going to be absolutely crucial. It's almost like when you look at Gus Malzahn and Chad Morris and how they're running this thing, it's like they're experimenting on 1st and 2nd down. Like, hey, let's see if this will work. Let's see if this play will work. Oh, let's do an end around. Let's do a reverse. Let's do a Hail Mary, on 1st and 2nd down. Not really taking advantage of the opportunities to control the down and distance. All right, guys, that's my time here. Go ahead and like the video. I think Auburn has a unique opportunity to finish this thing out 6-4. A lot of good things have to happen for them. Last time over in Starkville, things didn't go so well. Boobie Whitlow fumble right at the goal line would have changed things there. Like the video, comment, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy the game tonight and several other games that we'll be playing. As always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.